What's good? It's bOydude reviews. So with Rise of Skywalker ending the Skywalker saga, and it being kind of like the last Star Wars film for quite some time, I decided let's kind of go back and rank all the Star Wars films released in the cinemas from the worst to the best, all 12 of them. So let's talk about it. And coming in at last place at to number 12 is without a doubt Star Wars Phantom Menace. I've watched a lot of Star Wars films in my time, and I've watched a lot of movies in time, and I watched the original trilogy and I loved it. And when I came into this movie, like after the original trilogy, this kind of felt like an insult, you know. This movie hurt more just because of like the outlandish CGI and just like the really bad dialogue was really bad, you know. And the story is really strange, like tax federations, like what? Like it's so confusing, and it's meant to be targeted towards kids, and kids wouldn't really get into that, you know. It's not that appealing, you know. I don't really like the whole story and the narrative of this one, you know. It doesn't feel right, you know. It feels really off to me, you know. I don't know, juggles so much at the same time. You have all these different characters who just kind of come and go, and just it's too much in this film for me. And yeah, what is this film really about? Well, two Jedi Knights set out to search for someone who can bring peace to the Force. Their search ends when they come across a young, gifted boy, but the Sith returns to take claim to the Force. That's basically the story, and there's tax federations and all that stuff. And if you see my previous review, you would obviously know my thoughts and opinions on this. But just looking at it, I mean, visually it looks nice at times, but it's just the narrative is very clunky, and the dialogue hurts my ears so much. And there's this long pod racing sequence which goes on and on and on and on, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, let it end, you know. They bring these like really good talented actors and actresses, but they have such bad dialogue, and just the way it's delivered, it hurts. And the stereotypes on some of these like creatures it really hurts. It really hurts. It's just looking at these like Italian stereotypes, Jamaican stereotypes, and yeah, I don't know what George Lucas was thinking at the time. I really don't know why. And out of all the Star Wars films, the other ones, some of them are still pretty bad, but at least they kind of feel like Star Wars. It doesn't really feel like Star Wars at all. It feels like a kind of a parody of Star Wars, you know. It's kind of almost like it's an insult to what the OG trilogy brought to us, you know, and it is the worst. And coming at number 11 is Star Wars The Clone Wars, and I like this film a little bit more than The Phantom Menace because it has a better story. It's a little bit better, and well, as more star systems get swept into the Clone Wars, the Jedi Knights struggle to maintain order. Anakin Skywalker and his Padawan learner Oscar Tano embark on a mission that brings them face to face with Jabba the Hutt. Plotting against them is evil Count Dooku and his agent Azajai Ventress, who would ensure that the Jedi's fall. Meanwhile, Yoda and Obi-Wan Kenobi lead the clone army against the forces of the dark side. And this film is kind of set in between, just after Attack of the Clones and just before Revenge of the Sith, you know. And it's kind of part of the Clone Wars series, I think. I've never really seen the TV show, but I'm guessing it is kind of like set in par with it. And yeah, this is the first time I've reviewed this film on this channel, and talking more about this film, and the film received largely negative reviews, becoming the worst reviewed theatrical release Star Wars films. Critics panned the writing, animation, tone and dialogue, except the score, you know, and it was a kind of success. It had a budget of 8.5 million and it grossed 68 million. This film is bad. It's bad just looking at it, you know. I know it's a TV based movie, you know. It's like a movie based on a TV series, and I've seen loads of animated movies based on TV shows, you know, where the budget is better and it looks nicer. But this one, they don't try. Like, I'm looking at the animation and it looks like a video game, you know, like the way some of the characters walk around and run around. It looks so bad. It's terrible. It's like the style and the rendering and the shading is so awful. And I know I shouldn't be comparing like like Disney-esque movies, but like it's hard to look at this film in the cinema. If it was a TV film, I think I would have been a little bit okay, but to release this film in the cinema when like Up came out the exact same year, it's so disappointing and underwhelming. But I like it a little bit more than Phantom Menace because at least the characters are a little bit interesting. Anakin Skywalker in this film is a little bit more bearable, and it's probably part to the different voice actings because they're not Ewan McGregor or Hayden Christian. They are Mark Lanter and James Arnold Taylor who do the voices of them. And I kind of like Matt Lanter as Anakin a little bit more in terms of his acting. It's a little better. And yeah, it's just a film that I don't even see the point in watching. It doesn't do much for me in a way, and it's just really underwhelming, and I just don't want to ever see this film again, to be honest with you. So I wouldn't really recommend it, to be honest with you, but if you're a Star Wars fan and you want to see everything, go check it out, I guess. Oh dear. At number 8, we have got Rogue One, A Star Wars Story, and this film is basically the first spin-off Star Wars film made by Lucasfilm and Disney, and it's basically the adventures of these resistant fighters who basically try, and it's basically the origin of how to get the Death Star plans and how to deliver it to Leia in a way. The film isn't bad. I mean, it does have its like memorable moments, like the Vader scenes were just flipping amazing, and because it's a modern Star Wars film, it's so great to see Vader in this modern era. He's so badass and violent at times. It's so cool, and the visual effects are pretty damn impressive. They're very, very realistic and gritty. When they find the stormtroopers, it looks so good. Like, damn, it looks really great. But this film feels like empty to me. It doesn't have a style. It looks really bland and boring, and it's, in my opinion, the dullest looking Star Wars film I've ever seen. It looks so grey, and there's just no vibrant colours or nothing about it that just appeals, to me in a way. It's just a boring, boring, boring nothing to me in a way. I don't really care for the characters. They're all disposable, and none of them have memorable lines, and none of them really have any chemistry together. They all just feel awkward. Like, you got a bunch of people who you just picked from a bus stop, and it's just none of them work off one another well at all. And I just get bored of watching this film, to be honest with you. It just doesn't do it for me. I know it's got good reviews and all that lot, but I don't really like this film, to be honest with you. I check it out. It's part of Star Wars, but it's not for me. And at number 7, we have also got another Star Wars story, and that's Solo. Now, Solo, in like my opinion, is a little better than Rogue One because it has a little bit more fun and action. It's just the story of Han Solo. It's not his origin story because, I mean, really, we need a Han Solo origin story. Like, I mean, in all honesty, it's just a story with Han Solo and it's just him getting involved in like the criminal underworld, meeting individuals that change his life, and getting involved in like a large scale heist, and him meeting Chewie, him meeting the Falcon, him meeting Lando. Yeah, I mean, I do like Donald Glover's performance as Lando, and Emilia Clarke is always just a blessing. I like seeing her in movies and all that lot, and it's good to see Chewie and the Falcon. And the guy who plays Han, I feel like the writing on Han wasn't bad, like the way they wrote Han wasn't too bad. Like, I feel like they got his character down pretty well. But in all honesty, the guy doesn't really look like Han because Han is like, what, 35, and this guy's meant to be like, what, I'm guessing 19 or 20? I know it's just a little thing, but they could have got someone who looked like him a little bit, but I suppose he just played it better. The visuals aren't bad, but they're just not impressive. I like the first 10 minutes of this film. It is pretty fun and energetic, and then it just slows down until we get towards the end, which is really good. But in all honesty, I just wasn't digging this film, to be honest with you. It was kind of forgettable, but at least they were doing something a bit different, It wasn't like the same old, It was a little different and original, I have to admit. Go check it out, I guess. But at number 8, we have got The Last Jedi, and this one was basically a no-brainer. I like this film better than the spin-off films because the spin-off films just look absolutely bland as heck. They don't have any colors in them. The cinematography isn't even that impressive. But with The Last Jedi, at least The Last Jedi looks pretty. There are some nice color choices and vibrancy, and it does pop on the screen, and I will give Ryan Johnson that. He knows his cinematography. And yeah, like the poster looks great and amazing and all that lot. And it feels basically about Rey seeking to learn the ways of the Jedi under Luke Skywalker and its remaining member to reignite the Resistance war against the First Order. And honestly, I like all the Luke and Rey stuff. I feel like all that was great. Kylo Ren in this film was flipping amazing. My favorite character in the whole movie. I thought his scenes were just great. The Snoke scene, the Snoke battle scene was all great. It just looked really appealing. Seeing Luke this way, I mean, I know it's Ryan Johnson's interpretation of what could have happened, but I think it makes sense. I mean, Luke would probably have gone off somewhere feeling guilty and all that lot, and him not wanting to be part of the Force and all that. I did like all that. And the film is the only Star Wars film in the Disney main Skywalker movies that does feel different and new and original, but the way it's executed is just done so poorly to the point where it's unwatchable at times. It's not too low on my list, but the reason why I don't like it as much as the others is that it's starting to not feel like Star Wars anymore. The thing is that it's kind of this subversion of, it's like you expect something to happen and then it does something completely different to the point where it's like, oh, they're not going this way? Rey's parents? Oh, don't worry about them, they're nobody. Luke, is he gonna go into the First Order and take down the First Order with his laser sword? No, he's gonna toss it over the ocean. And it's like, it's surprising when I was in the cinema and I saw that, I was like, oh, this was not how I thought it was going to happen. And it's plot twists done. It's not plot twists, it's just surprising moments, but they're disappointing, They're not satisfying surprising moments, At least with the Rise of Skywalker, they have some twists that did surprise me and it was interesting. At least those twists were a little bit more interesting than these ones, but this film is kind of a long bore. It's a strange movie because it's the longest movie in all these Disney movies, yet they don't explain anything. Like, this movie kind of starts and ends kind of the same way, like nothing of real impact has happened apart from Kylo Ren. Apart from Kylo Ren and Luke, that's it. I feel like all the characters, Rey, Finn, Poe, it starts and ends them the same. I feel like they haven't really learned anything, and they're not really different, and they're just that's the main problem I've had with this movie, to be honest with you, is that the characters are still the same at the end of the film. They haven't learned anything new, they haven't done anything different, they're just the same. And yeah, Kylo Ren is the only dude in this film who's actually changed and evolved. Everyone else is the same, and it's sad and disappointing, And yeah, it's a disappointing movie, to be honest with you. But yeah, number 7, we have definitely got Attack of the Clones. And I like this movie a lot more than any of these other movies because it's the one movie rewatching that I've started to like more. And I feel like it has a better story and it's more focused than the other movies, It's just got Obi-Wan doing his thing, Anakin doing his thing, and it's very focused and you understand what's happening. And what's the film about? Well, while pursuing an assassin, Obi-Wan uncovers a sinister plot to destroy the Republic. With the fate of the galaxy hanging in the balance, the Jedi must defend the galaxy against the evil Sith, and Anakin is kind of hired as Padme's protection bodyguard, and they fall in love. And yeah, I like this film. I really do. Like, I like the pacing of it, I like, I like the characters, I like Ewan McGregor as Obi-Wan, I like him as this slightly older version of him compared to the first one when he was kind of like a kid. And he's more, I like him and Anakin's kind of like, big brother, little brother kind of relationship in the movie. I thought it was really cool. The first opening, well, not the first opening sequence, but the sequence in like the first act, the Coruscant sequence, it's so amazing. Like some of these like worlds that, like Coruscant and Naboo and whatever, like they just look so glorious and beautiful and lush and vibrant, and it has color and gloss, and it looks so appealing, like I have to admit this, but I kind of want to live in some of these worlds. It looks so damn cool, Hayden Christensen, despite getting terrible dialogue, does do a decent performance with what he's given, and in a way it does work with who Anakin is as a character, and he, like I get why he is the way he is, and I think the film works at times, but obviously the CGI on creatures look terrible, like really bad, and Jar Jar's still annoying. And for me, it's the CGI on creatures that really put me off in this movie, and sadly it is the bad writing and the dialogue. It kills the movie for me at times, but I still like it more than the other movies that I've ranked on this list by a long shot. So yeah, go check it out. I recommend it, to be honest with you. Number 6, The Rise of Skywalker. Now, this film, I really did like, I liked Kylo Ren's story and, discovering, we finally get answers in this movie that we needed, and it looks amazing, like, it does feel like the end of, an era, it's the end of this Disney trilogy, and the final battle is amazing and awesome, and the acting is flipping amazing, like Daisy Ridley, Oscar Isaac, John Boyega, Ian McDiarmid, and is it Adam Driver? Yeah, like they all do a really damn good job. Like the acting is just on point, it's really great, and I really do like seeing the Rey, Finn, Poe kind of Three Musketeers banter. C-3PO getting an actual arc and actually mattering in the story for once, getting something to do, which I really liked. And obviously Rey's secret, obviously, spoiler alert, her being a Palpatine, and I kind of knew, like, going in that she was, because bringing back Palpatine, it's like, oh yeah, she's a Palpatine. And what I liked with this film is that they had good ideas, I do have to admit, I like the whole idea of Rey being related to Palpatine, but the problem is that they should have established this in The Last Jedi, and this movie should have been like her kind of being torn between, the light and the dark side, or what she needs to do and her destiny, I don't know if they did it like that. If they wanted to do this, that's the route they should have gone, and it would have been less frustrating. But this movie was a bloated fan fiction mess. The amount of fan fiction in this movie is crazy. It's like Disney don't know what they want to do. It's like they did Force Awakens, which was too similar, and people complained, so Disney were like, oh, we need to make it different, and then people complained it was too different, but it wasn't different in a good way. So now they've gone back to making it a fan fiction, and it's like, in all honesty, I feel like with George Lucas's trilogy, they were badly kind of written in a way. Not the story, but the dialogue was badly written. But the story, the overall idea of the story was really interesting and good, and I was digging it, The rise and fall of Anakin Skywalker, the fall of the Jedi, and the rise of the Sith, like all that was just, I liked the ideas of it, and it was interesting, and I was engaged, and it had emotional weight. But when I watch all these Disney films, starting with Force Awakens, like they all feel like different films. Like Force Awakens is set in this big universe up, and you're expecting so much. Then Last Jedi is like, forget all about all that. We're doing something different. Then Rise of Skywalker is like, oh no, forget about what Last Jedi did. We're gonna bring back the fan fiction. Like, yeah, it's just, it doesn't know what it wants, and it's just, I'm sorry, but Disney, Disney really haven't done this franchise justice in all. And yeah, it was a disappointment, you know. Too much in this film, but I recommend checking it out. Now we get on our top 5, and at number 5, without a doubt, it's Revenge of the Sith. Now, this film is basically, you know, the fall of Anakin Skywalker, the fall of of the Jedi. And I just really like this film, you know, seeing it feels darker, you know, seeing how Anakin's being manipulated and twisted by Palpatine, how he's starting to lose faith in a Jedi Order, and you know, it makes you realize that, you know, if the Jedi guys just kind of had faith and believed in Anakin instead of like saying, I don't trust him, I think he's dangerous, I sense much fear in him. Like, of course Anakin's gonna feel a little bit, you know, untrustworthy because they don't trust him, so he's not gonna trust them. And, you know, the Jedi are very hypocritical and they're not all perfect, you know, like, they're not these perfect people, you know, and they failed big time, you know. And how Palpatine's just been kind of orchestrating everything from the beginning, you know, the clone army. I thought that it was a sickening plan, but I thought it was a really well laid plan, you know, like just the way he set it all up and how even Yoda was oblivious to everything. I thought it was really interesting and just kind of a smart but awesome plan in a way. And yeah, Anakin's turn to the dark side was, you know, like it got kind of scary at times. The music and the cinematography, it started getting dark, and just, you know, like you see these characters and just him and Padme's like kind of end. It was sad, you know, like I got kind of sad, you know, when he choked Padme, but you know, he was angry because he thought that she was with Obi-Wan, and then him battling Obi-Wan and Obi-Wan just being devastated, saying that he was meant to bring balance to the Force, not destroy everything. And you can just see the pain in Obi-Wan's eyes, just like how Qui-Gon trusted him, and just all that stuff was just great. The visual effects, like the opening fighting scene was just flipping amazing, dude. Like, gosh, this film had great stuff. But sadly, the dialogue just kind of kills it for me at times. The writing on the dialogue is not that great, you know. They've slightly improved on the creature designs in this film, but yeah, in all honesty, the writing and just the execution on some things, like Anakin's just kind of like, I kind of get why, you know what, people keep saying that Anakin's transformation to the dark side was quick, but he was desperate to save Padme, and he basically was he kind of injured Mace Windu, and he realized that, oh my gosh, Palpatine like has all this power, and him saying unlimited power as he's killing Mace Windu, and he's just terrified of Palpatine, you know. So he has no choice. Like, if he just disobeys him now, Palpatine will kill him, you know. So he's just gotta do what he needs to do, and you know, he has to join him, and he just needs dark power to save Padme, but he just doesn't trust him, you know. I feel like everything he's doing is out of fear, you know. Even when he's like done killing the younglings and all that lot, you can just see him crying, you know. And he's just kind of like, what am I doing? I am not liking what I'm doing, but I've got no choice. Like, it feels like he has no choice. He loves Padme so much, he can't bear living without her, and it's just, he's willing to do dangerous stuff just to, you know, make sure that she's alive. And yeah, it's just not a bad flick. I recommend it. But number 4 is Force Awakens, and this film was the best theatre experience. Like, it was the first sequel Star Wars film. People were excited, and I loved watching it, you know. It felt like Star Wars, you know, it acted like Star Wars, it sounded like Star Wars. The story was so great, you know, gripping, into new characters, returning old characters. The CGI was amazing, you know, and it was just a great welcome back, you know. Over time, I have seen the flaws in this movie. It's not all perfect, but out of all the Disney movies that they made, out of all of them, I think Force Awakens is the best one, because it is the one that kind of set up this whole universe that kind of failed in the end. I wish the sequels were just better, you know. This movie is the one that annoys me the least, you know, because it was setting up all these pieces, you know, and I just loved it all, you know. Just a great film and fun movie as well. But number 3, obviously the original trilogy on the number 3, and it is The Return of the Jedi. And obviously it's basically it's the last movie in the OG trilogy. And what's it about? As the rebels dispatch their plans to destroy a second Death Star, Luke tries to bring his father, Vader, back from the dark side of the Force. And I really do like all the Luke Vader scenes, and him with Palpatine, and just the writing and the dialogue was just so great at the time, The cinematography, I feel like in this film might have been the best one. Like when it came to like the throne scenes, they just looked so damn cool, like the blacks and the blues, and I'm sorry dude, but they look so cool and vibrant and lush, I liked seeing Leia get more general stuff role to do. Lando finally like teaming up with them and doing his thing, And the battle on Endor wasn't too bad. I'm starting to not hate the Ewoks as much, even though they are a bit of a distraction and they kill the film at times, Luke's character is very different in this film. He's not as jokey or as Lukey as he was in the previous two. He's very calm and just neutral at times, But I feel like learning about Vader's, just learning about Vader and just like kind of being one with the Force, it's kind of like altered his personality in a way. And I don't know, I feel like it was a good different approach for Luke, and him bringing Vader and his fight, all the stuff was really great in this film. It was a nice end to the OG trilogy, even though I feel like the Ewoks were annoying, but go check it out. And number 2, we have got the OG Star Wars movie, the Star Wars A New Hope, and it's basically Princess Leia sends a message to Obi-Wan Kenobi assistant for her help, and Obi-Wan gets Luke to join in, and Luke dreams of joining the Resistance and fighting the bad guys. And I just like seeing all these characters, how they're introduced and how young they used to look, and it was just so great. And just seeing like the practical effects was so cool and amazing, I thought it was just phenomenal. It was a nice roller coaster of a ride, The writing was great, the dialogue was great, learning about the Force and all that. You can check my full review out. I do love it, the cinematography, the binary sunset scenes, all of that was just great, So check it out. But number 1, we've got Empire Strikes Back. It's not a surprise, and it's everyone's favorite, but it's just a good film because each act has meaning and merit to them. Like the first act, you have the battle on the ice planet. It's just so great, it's so gripping, like the resistance against the Galactic Empire troopers, and it's just so great. Then you have the second act where they meet Lando, they go to Cloud City, and Luke's training with Yoda. And then you got like the climax with Luke versus Vader, and him learning the truth that he's his father was just shocking, and it turns everything. And that whole Vader twist changes everything, and it kind of creates the whole Skywalker saga. That whole twist changed everything, and it was just great and amazing. And just the storytelling was so amazing and just lovable in this film. The music was great, Yoda was awesome, the characters were also fun and enjoyable, and it's just cinema. Like the foreshadowing in this film was just amazing, and that's why it's my favorite. It's just a well-crafted movie with a great story, and yeah, I mean, it was interesting rewatching all these films, rewatching them. Some of them I liked more, some of them I didn't like as much. And seeing these new movies come out, in all honesty, it will take me a while for me to like them. But honestly, I don't think Disney knows what they're doing, with Star Wars. Apart from The Mandalorian, which I heard was really good, I feel like Disney work well when they kind of focus on like the spin-off stuff, because the spin-off films have better ideas, and they have, they're still in the Star Wars world, but you get these smaller characters playing a bigger part in a slightly bigger role, and I thought it was great and awesome. And I think if they just focus on these like spin-off stuffs and prequels, like I think it would really work well, it'd be interesting. I want to see an Obi-Wan prequel badly, I want to see a Yoda prequel badly, and yeah, these Star Wars films, for better or for worse, they're always going to be part of my life, and I recommend checking them all out, But thanks for watching this review. Please like and share the video and comment down below. Tell me what's your favorite Star Wars flick. With that said, thank you for watching. As always, bOydude Reviews signing out.